Right, Chris, there are 144 pros, 96 league players. So we look at the top 24 that didn't make the top 5. Walter Ray Williams up there, 5th place, 8th place. McDowell, the president. Peter Hakem, 11th place. Good week for him. I'll be a great champion.
Okay.
Bob Benoit, Pete Weber, the defending champion, 15th place. Wonderlic, 3 top 24s in a row. Ray Edwards. Dave Ferraro's had the hot hand this winter. Don Moser, 19th. Del Ballard Jr., former U.S. Open champion. Mark Roth, who won this tournament in 1984, 21st. Vespi, the early leader. David Ozio, the 1991 Player of the Year. And the man trying to outrun the bird is Ice, 24th place, a league player, Chris.
Right now, it's semifinal time at the United States Open in Canandaigua between Syracuse and Rochester.
Little stats for the first 13 weeks of the PBA Tour. The player that starts the match, this one being Monacelli, has won 28 out of 52. That's 53%. So it's a coin toss to see if you have any advantage starting.
As a number 2 seed, Amleto is 1-8. 1 victory and 8 losses, but he has a total of 11 titles in 10 years.
He averaged more than anybody on a championship here, Monacelli, 247, but the hot hand is held by Robert Lawrence, who told me he threw an experimental shot in the 10th frame to see if he had pull area when he got that split.
Crossing over and leaving the 6-10.
And I guess he found out he didn't have pull area in the 10th frame and decided to do it again, but that one was by accident. As he goes high, avoids the split, leaves the 6-10, changes balls to a low surface friction ball, slided across the lane, the danger of the chop.
Of course, with our head-to-head format, the winner of this game moves into the final against Scott Devers. The person that loses the match will get $12,000. Bob Learn Jr. earned $6,500 today, and Mark Thayer with $8,000.
The grip of Robert Lawrence, much like the great Hank Marino, who won the National Match Game Championship, or forerunner to this, in 1938. Tight thumb hole and a lot of reverse pitch.
This is the Open. The All-Star in the Open, won by names like Vera Papa, Carter, Weber, Welu, Hardwick, Stefanich, Day, Bowman.
Monacelli today will join a league group of reaching $1 million mark on the PBA Tour in winnings, despite what he does in this match. But he'd like to get his first major.
Crossing over, the man that coming in needed only $6,134 to reach that magic mark attained by 7 others.
Monacelli with a style we've seen so many times, very contemporary style. Look at the open hand out there. Look at his thumbs pointing straight up, and but look at how solid his pivot step is, pointing directly down the target line, head steady, pulls that left shoulder back, snaps the wrist. Got a good break crossing over, and he is perfect through 2 frames.
Man that was second in last year's Firestone.
The Rudolph Valentino haircut of Monacelli going against the bad boy of the PBA Tour, Robert Lawrence.
High hit, leaving the 3-6 on the right lane for the man that shot a 245 with 8 strikes in his win over Mark Thayer.
We're seeing a quick change in the lane as you see Robert Lawrence's ball drifting high. Both of these players have gone high on 48. The championship pair, 47-48. Lawrence high in the first frame, high in the third, and Monacelli getting a great break in his shot over here, crossing over.
There you see the score. Lawrence trailing by 20. in match play defeated Monacelli 200 to 191.
Chris, you said that Lawrence won $50,000 as you check his grip again. In 1989 in regional play, he won almost $92,000 combined with that singles championship and regional tournaments. The first solid tap of the day. Every time a player has hit the pocket, he has been rewarded so far today. We had a half 10 by Thayer in one of the earlier matches, but this is the first time a player hit solid in the pocket and had anything but a strike.
Robert Lawrence, both his wins came in 1990, winning the True Value and also the Fair Lane. From Canandaigua, we're going to take a break and then return. Yes, the leadership of all of bowling has gathered here in Canandaigua. Here's the President of the American Bowling Congress, Henry Lipinski, Commissioner of the PBA, there alongside Bud Fisher. They're here watching now Amleto Monacelli. 3 in a row. Up high, 3, 6, 10. 10 did not go. Went back home to Barranquilla, Venezuela for a rest, and Teresa, his wife, did not return because there are only 2 more stops. Windsor Locks, Tums Classic next week, and the Firestone Tournament of Champions before most of the month of May can be a respite for these pros who've gone out here 16 weeks in a row and battled. Okay, Nelson.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Tournament leader Scott Devers. Scott, the tournament leader so far in 1992 has 3 wins, 10 losses. What do you feel is the reason the tournament leader has lost so much this year, and is there anything you can do about it today?
Well, I think that I try not to look at most of the negative statistics that's out here. I'm going to go out, I'm going to bowl my game like I've bowled all week long. I'm going to try to fill as many frames as I possibly can, hopefully throw as many strikes as I can, and hopefully I'll be the winner.
Chris, I've heard that story before, and it hasn't worked. Let's see what happens.
Okay, as Amleto Monacelli slides through, just slashing through, leaving the 1, 2, 10, the washout. And Amleto opened with 3 strikes and marked with a spare. His lead is 15 pins at this point. This is the semifinal game, the winner to meet Scott Devers for the $40,000 championship prize for the U.S. Open. All out, the 1989 and 1990 Player of the Year. Only his second telecast in 1992 after 6 last year and 9 the previous year. He was second at the True Value at Landmark Lanes in Peoria. Now Lawrence.
That'll be interesting. No prohibitive favorite yet has surfaced in the Derby. Now Lawrence, 5th frame, can take the lead with a double.
Battling back. 245 win over Mark Thayer. Previous game. 245, 177.
The big swinging hook, Lawrence with his eyes down. Best shot he threw in the match. He trailed by 4 going in the shot. He now leads by 6. Monacelli, who has really kind of struggled. Let's see what kind of adjustment he can make to get back into the match.
Both professionals from bowling families. Amleto Monacelli takes time off periodically during the tour, and each time he returns, his performance is enhanced. Why?
I usually take off when I feel like I just gotta get away from bowling, from everybody, just go home, see the family, and just do something different, go to my business, and then I get ready to, you know, get some practice, work on my bowling a little bit before I come back, and I'm ready to go.
Trying to regain the lead with a strike up, leaving the 245. Amleto, who in 1980 went to an English language institute in Mississippi, there for 9 months to learn our language.
Lawrence contemplating the match. He knows that right now Monacelli's in trouble. Monacelli's got to get the ball in this zone, the 2-5 zone, take out the 4 and 8, and he only trailed by 6.
Okay, we're in our semifinal game in the United States Open. We'll return following this. Here's a host for the United States Open here in 1992. Proprietor of Rosen Bowl of 60 Lanes, Jack Moran. Irish smile. Ah, yes. Now, Robert Lawrence leading by 6 pins, a double-up shooting in the 7th frame, going against Amleto Monacelli. Very close to the channel, leaving a 10.
Robert Lawrence looks up to the announce booth. His good buddy Del Ballard Jr., who won last week at the Toyota Classic in Sayville, knowing he threw that ball way too wide, gets a great break, leaving the wall shot 10, needs this spare to maintain his lead. Trouble, the ball went in the channel. Once it leaves the playing surface, it is dead. That does not count. It's a miss. And right now, Robert Lawrence, a little nonchalant as you see the ball sliding by, has given Monacelli a great boost as Lawrence drops to 7 pins in arrears after 7 frames.
And bounces right back.
Monacelli, excellent training habits, runs almost every day. He's a vegetarian, has given up meat for the last 11 years. He feels that that keeps him nice and healthy for all the traveling he has on the road. I guess the jury's a little bit out on that, but right now he leads the match.
4, 6, 7.
What has happened? We saw the first 2 games, high-scoring environment. Once again, I repeat that the PBA, as you see Monacelli cutting it loose and cutting right through the middle, the PBA stripped or cleaned the last 15 feet of the lane. The lanes look great. Now it looks like we're having some of that carry down or oil problem. The scoring environment has toughened here in the semifinal. Robert Lawrence, as he comes up in the 9th frame, going at a 196 pace. That means if he spares strikes, spare the rest of the way, 196 would be his game. Monacelli, a possible 199. This is a big shot right here. Robert Lawrence.
And a 310.
Starting to get ugly. From 270s, we're going to 170s. The ball cuts through the middle. The 310 baby split, Chris. Pretty easy spare for the pros. They should make this about 50% of the time if they want to win money out here on the Pro Bowlers Tour. Get the ball to the right of the 3-pin, let the ball carry into the 10. He needs this to maintain his lead through 9 frames.
He was at the line begging for that shot.
Well, Lawrence in his interviews said that he has been getting beaten up out here on the Professional Bowlers Tour in the match play segments. Well, right now he's down to the key match play segment, and he determines his own position right now. If he throws 2 strikes, he shuts out Monacelli. Anything less, Monacelli can throw strikes in the 10th and win the match.
Here's a man that must win today or next week to re-qualify for the Firestone.
Right now, for Lawrence, strike, 4 pins, lock city. He goes into the championship match against Devers. Anything less, this man, Monacelli, still has a chance. The 10, that opens the door for Monacelli. What faces Monacelli, if indeed Lawrence converts the spare, he would finish with 196. Monacelli would need 2 strikes and 8 pins.
And Amleto choosing to finish on that lane bow.
That was his choice. You're right, Chris. He has the choice as a higher finisher in the tournament to finish the match. This has been his choice. Now he must perform. 2 strikes, anything less, and he loses.
And now Monacelli with the 310. Lawrence had it earlier.
And in Spanish, it's adios for Senor Monacelli because he needed 2 strikes to win the match. He will not win. The final is going to be Robert Lawrence against the lefty Scott Devers for the U.S. Open title, 3-year exemption to the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
But nevertheless, Amleto Monacelli became a millionaire today. He has a total of $105,266. $1,000,001. ABC Sports presentation Professional Bowlers Tour will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
The goal of every first shot in the sport of bowling is to strike. There are various ways to achieve this. However, there is one recognized method that gives a player the highest percentage. Even in slow motion, it is difficult to see the exact action of each pin once the ball has impacted the head pin. So let's take a closer look at the dynamics of the ideal strike. You'll notice that the ball only hits 4 pins, the 1, 3, 5, and 9. Now let's add the 2 pin to the rack. The number 1 pin will do the job here. Now the 4 and 6 pins. The key pin is the 2 on the 4, the 3 on the 6. Now in the back row, the 8 pin. The 5 pin in the center of the rack takes out the 8. And finally, the 2 toughest pins to knock down in bowling, the 7 and 10 pins. The domino effect of the 2, 4, and 7 and the 3, 6, 10 will give you a strike. So when your friends say, nice shot, you knocked down all 10 pins with the ball, say, thank you, but that's not necessarily true. I only knocked down 4 pins. However, I will take credit for a strike.
Okay, well done, guys. Now into the championship match. 40 to the winner.